everyone, welcome back to day 8 of Java in 30 days by QPoin. Today's topic is arrays. An array is like a container that holds multiple values of the same type under a single name. Instead of creating 10 different variables, we can use array to store all of them together. In Java, arrays are the objects that store elements in a contiguous memory block. We will cover two types today. 1D array, that is one dimensional like a simple list, and 2D array, two dimensional like a table or a matrix. Now let's code it to see how it works. We will see how to declare, initialize and access a 1D array. So, we will declare and initialize an array of integers by writing int big bracket numbers and then equal to curly braces 10, 20, then 30, then 40, then 50, then close this bracket and put semicolon. Now we will write system dot out dot print ln and then inside parenthesis with quotes we will write elements with in the array and then we will put a semicolon and then we will run our for loop. Inside that we will write int I is equal to 0, then semicolon I is less than number dot length and then we will write numbers, not number, and then we will put a semicolon and then we will write I plus plus. Don't keep space here and also don't keep any space here, and so we will put a curly brace. Now you will print by writing system dot out dot print ln and then inside parenthesis write index, then we will write a plus sign and then I plus, then inside quotes we will write this sign and a plus numbers and then big bracket I and then semicolon. Then we will calculate the sum of the elements by writing int sum is equal to 0, then semicolon, then we will run again a for loop and we will write int num, then we will write numbers and then we will end this with curly braces and sum plus equal to num. Could you remember this plus equal to num? What is this? Then now let's write system dot out dot print ln and then inside quotes let's write sum of elements and then equal to we will write plus sum. Then we will put semicolon. Now our code looks complete. So let's save and run this directly from here. And then there is an error. The error is could not find or load main class cupoint.java numbers in the module. Now let's see why there is an error. Let's see what's the error. Let's run it once again. Run as Java application and then proceed. And you can see the index at 2, 3 and 4 got printed with sum of elements as 150. I just refreshed and it ran properly. Now what I did, int big bracket numbers is the declaration of an array numbers with 5 integer values, and numbers.length gives the total number of elements. Then we loop through the elements and print each element with their index. Finally, we used an enhanced for loop to calculate the sum easily. This for int numbers, this is the enhanced for loop. And then you can see the index at 2, 3 and 4 got printed with the sum of elements as 150. When you add, you can see 10 plus 20 plus 30 plus 40 plus 50. You will get the sum of elements as 150. So now let's see some more examples. A 2D array is basically an array of arrays. You can think of it as a table with rows and columns. For example, storing student marks in different subjects can be done using a 2D array. Now let's see some code to see how it works. We will see how to declare, initialize and print a 2D array. So we will write int big bracket and then matrix and then equal to curly braces, and inside that we will write 1 comma 2 comma 3 and close this. Then let's take another matrix with 4 comma 5 comma 6, then let's close it, and then let's take 7 comma 8 comma 9 and then close it with semicolon. And then let's print by writing system dot out dot print ln, and then inside parenthesis let's write matrix elements, and then let's end with semicolon. Now we will run our for loop for row. So we will write for int I is equal to 0 semicolon I is less than matrix dot length, and then we will put a semicolon I plus plus, then I will put a curly brace. This is for loop for row. Now we will write for loop for column, and we will write int j is equal to 0, then semicolon. Now j is less than matrix dot I, and then we will write length. and then we will increase j by plus plus. Now our for loop is complete. For column, now we will print it by writing system dot out dot print, and then inside that we will print our matrix. And so we will write for rows I, and for column we will write j. And now we will add a plus sign here with quotes, and now we will print system dot out dot print ln for new line, so that new line got prints after each row, and we will put a parenthesis and then close this with semicolon. And now let's save our file, save, and then let's right click, and I think there is an extra bracket here. Let's remove this, and now our code is complete. Let's save, and now right click, run as Java application, proceed, and you can see the matrix got printed as 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7 8 9. Now here we are looking with a 2D array, which you can imagine like a table or a matrix of rows and columns, as you can see. Then I declared a 2D array called matrix with 3 rows and 3 columns, and I directly initialized it with 1 to 9. So in memory it looks like row 1 as 1 2 3, row 2 as 4 5 6, and row 3 as 7 8 9. Now to print the matrix I am using a nested loop. The outer loop goes through each row, and then the inner loop goes through each column and inside that row. Now as you can see, it prints row by row just like a table. This is how we traverse a 2D array in Java. Now let's see some more examples. We will see how to take input in a 2D array. So we will write our import statement first. Import java dot util dot scanner, and then we will put a semicolon, and now inside our main we will write our scanner, and then we will write sc is equal to new scanner, and then system dot in, and then we'll end with semicolon. Now we will print system dot out dot print, and then we will write enter number of rows, enter number of rows, and then we will put in quotes and semicolon, and then we will write int rows is equal to sc dot next, and then we will write sorry int, and then we will close this, and next we will print for the columns. So we will write system dot out, sorry, system dot out dot print, and then we will write enter number of columns, and then we will put a semicolon, and inside quotes we will write, and then we will write the same for columns. Int columns is equal to sc dot next int, and so we will close with semicolon, and now we will write int big bracket is equal to array, and next we will write new int, and inside for rows and columns we will write rows and columns. We entered, and now let's put semicolon, and now we will take inputs element. So we will write system dot out dot print ln, and then we will write inside quotes enter elements of the matrix, and then we will write semicolon. Let's remove this full stop, and now we will run our for loop for rows and columns for int I is equal to 0 semicolon I is less than rows, and then semicolon I plus plus, and then we will put curly braces, and then another for loop for the columns, and we will write int j is equal to 0 semicolon j is less than columns, and then we will put semicolon, and then j plus plus, and we will end with curly braces. Then we will write our array name for rows as I, and for columns j, and then we will write equal to sc dot next int. Int should be capital, and next int, and close this with parenthesis with semicolon, and now we will move further for our output elements. So we will again write our print statement by system dot out dot print, and then ln, and inside that we will write the matrix is, and we will then enter with semicolon, and again we will run our for loop, and inside that we will write int I is equal to 0 semicolon I is less than rows, and then we will put a semicolon I plus plus, then curly braces, then again we will run our for loop and we will write int j is equal to 0, then j is less than columns, and then we will put semicolon j plus plus, and then we will write our curly brace. Then we will print our system dot out dot print, and inside that we will write our array big bracket I, and then again a big bracket, inside that we will write a j for columns, and then we will put some space and then add sign and then quotes with some space to be printed, and then we will print our final statement by writing system dot out dot print ln, and then we will put this parenthesis, then semicolon, and finally we will close this by writing sc dot close, and we will close it, and now our code looks complete, and we will save and then right click, run as Java application, proceed, and you can see it's asking for entering the number of rows. So first let me explain you what I did. This program takes user input for a 2D array. First it asks for entering how many rows and columns we will want. So let's write number of rows as 2. Let's write it here. Now it's asking for number of rows. Let's take it as 3. And now let's enter. It's asking for the elements of the matrix. So let's write as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think let's take 6 also. So the matrix is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As I entered, the number gets stored in the array row by row. The first row as 1, 2, 3 and the second row as 4, 5, 6. And here the output got printed. The program prints the element back in the proper matrix form. This confirms that our input is stored correctly in the 2D array. So, to summarize, 1D arrays are like simple lists, while the 2D is a tabular data. We learned how to initialize directly and also how to take input from the user using a nested loop. And arrays are super important because they are the foundation for solving bigger problems like searching, sorting, and matrix operation. So, we will end this session today, and now let's see you in the next session with the topic string.